And we're live. What is going on, everybody? I'm Kati, your host. We don't have music yet, but that's okay, because it's the first episode. Wow, if you're here, amazing. And if you're not here, welcome. I'm Kati, your awesome friend. I'll just say that. And someone that is obsessed with spirituality, all things, and so taking ownership of that and integrating and doing all the fun things on my journey. So, and I'm here to share with you what it is, and hopefully it will help you on your journey too. So today I'm going to be talking about my life before psychedelics and my life after psychedelics and everything in between. Okay, so yeah, and if you like it, give it a thumbs up and give it a little love if you're into it. If not, I still love you, and it'd be I love a good 5-star review. So cool. All right, well, here we go. Yeah, so yeah, and I just want to thank y'all for being here and listening and tuning in. So what it's like being, so before we get into the psychedelic story, so I've been a wedding photographer in my 20s for 12 years, and I was a photographer since I was in middle school, which was super cool. Like, honestly, to have parents that like saw your craft and saw that you were an artist from a little child, that says a lot, you know. So I, wasn't the best in school, and instead what was I really good at was art, all things art. And so they saw that in me, and so they bought me a camera. I was a yearbook photographer, got kicked out for being on YouTube in high school, and then was the newspaper photographer in college, started a business shooting weddings in college. My husband at the time, he wasn't my husband at the time, he was my boyfriend. He was also an entrepreneur doing his thing, and then he's like, you should start a business. I'm like, all right, cool, great idea. Used Instagram and social media to start my wedding photography business, and it was cool. Like, I used social media it was like the beginning stages of like using social media as a platform to really start your business. And so I was like, hell yeah, let's utilize that. Let's utilize the internet. And so I did for 12 years, shooting weddings all around the world, getting all the magazine stuff, all the things. Super fun, creative life. We had a wonderful life together. And all the arts, all the creativity. And then in 2019, I traveled solo and was just like, I discovered sound bowls and was just like, I need a change in my life. I was just like, I knew something big was happening for me. I didn't know what yet, but I knew I needed a change in my life. And I ended things and went on a whole journey. And it felt like the right thing to do at the time, and so I did. And that led to a 2-year solo international backpacking journey, living in all these beautiful nature places, from all through from Mexico to Guatemala to Peru, to traveling all over Europe in a van, to basically spending all my money I had saved up to just enjoy work with plant medicine, psychedelics, and really and do meditations and 10-day silent meditation retreats, vipassana, yoga teacher training, all the fun things. And I am in human design, I'm a 1-3, which is discovering, like researching and then trying things out, researching and then trying things out, experimentation. So I'm super into it, and I don't like to just research but try things out. Here we are. So I went on that journey, and it was amazing. It was challenging, and then in 2022 I basically spent all my money, and then I was you know, doing a lot of research and around it. And then in 2022 I brain fart rail it back, ADHD on the max. So I was totally, you know, I didn't have a home, so I was staying at my friends, and then I had what they in the Western called psychotic break, where I lost my mind. I would hear intrusive voices and telling me very, very hurtful things. I had no idea what was happening. I really thought these voices were real. These voices first telling me I'm going to meet Taylor Swift and she's going to help me be this amazing musician, you know, which led to leaving my friend's house and to super, you know, intrusive voices about people coming after me and hurting me. And you know, just know if this is triggering, yeah, you know, for anyone that's experienced psychosis, they can totally understand this. And so that led to very intrusive voices of like feeling like someone was chasing me. And so I was traveling in Spain, and so I left my friend's home and was for 2 days, actually like a day and a half, I was just walking around, you know, trying to run away from these voices / running away from myself. Well, not running away from myself, but running away from this person that I thought was going to come get me. And I believe that people were out to get me. It was very intense. It led to me losing all my things, all my photography gear, and my laptop, everything I owned. And then it led me to, I turned myself into a psych ward for about a month, and then, which is a whole other story. And then after that, because I didn't know what was happening, I was so unaware. That led to me, my parents taking me into their home. And yeah, which led me to, it was interesting because I haven't lived in my parents' house since I was in college. And so that led to living with parents for 2 years, and really, you know, it was intense. It was the first year. It was very depressing, just kind of like trying to understand what's going on, because a lot of people, you know, I was confused on what was going on. And then, yeah, and the second year being a lot better, making sense of it all. So yeah, I feel like there's so much to unpack around this, but yeah, when it comes to this experience, you know, I think what's really important to talk about is around, you know, psychedelics usage and psychosis. You know, I before this experience, I was super ungrounded. I was, you know, I was using singing bowls. I was doing 1 hour of holotropic breath work, which, if you don't know, it's like Wim Hof. So it's like, it just gets you really high. I was doing a lot of things, even if it's not psychedelics. I was using a lot of things that would get me super high. And which probably was a way of avoiding and just like, wanting to be with spirit and all of the just getting high with God, and avoiding earth and grounding experiences. And so, and not everyone's experience is like this, but some people are just more sensitive to this. And some aren't. Some people can do psychedelics and be fine, and some others aren't, because they're already very, very connected. And so once you use these psychedelics, it can really impact a lot. So yeah, I think before I was using it and working with ayahuasca as well, and these plant medicines, I was trying to understand everything that happened to me. And I was also grieving my divorce and things like that. And so just trying to find direction after my divorce. And so, then after that experience, after I experienced that psychosis episode, I was just like, oh my goodness, I'm on all these medications that were so intense. Medications, like, they would say, like, side effects for depression, anxiety, numbness, and it was so awful. I was at my parents' place and dealing with that grief of just like feeling like a failure at age 31. Like, I was like this super successful, I felt successful, with this business, making 6 figures a year, and had my whole life, to being at my parents' house and like talk about feeling like a total loser. And so, yeah, just dealing with that, and that was really intense. And so, I was dealing with that, and some things that really helped me through that process, was not attaching myself to the label of being schizophrenic. So they diagnosed me as schizophrenia, hearing voices, having psychosis episodes, right? And which is true, like, as in, I definitely heard intrusive voices and things. But what I later discovered was that really helped me through the process was to not attach myself to this label of being schizophrenic, because I feel like when you attach yourself to this label as you're crazy, and which a lot of people just end up in psych wards, right? And then you go even more crazy because of how horrible that experience is. So when you attach yourself to this label, then it's just so, you feel horrible about yourself. And so something that a mentor of mine told me was like, because I was like, oh, the medication's making me depressed. This is why I'm depressed. Which in reality, I think what was actually making me depressed more was the lack of action I was taking in my life. The lack of creation over consumption. I was consuming a lot of media and just not creating my life. And instead I was consuming a lot and not really creating. And allowing myself to just like numb. And it helped, definitely, like changing my medication too, and like it really helped to, you know, change like around that medication and things like that. But a lot of it was like, how am I taking care of my body? How am I taking care of my mind? How am I taking care of my spirit and my soul and what I want to create post psychosis, still on medication? So I'm not here to tell you to get off medication. Obviously, I'm not your doctor. But I am here to share that it's a lot more complicated than you think when it comes to working, you know, psychosis and psychedelics. And yeah, and so I'm here to also share that some people are just more sensitive to that, and so it's not recommended for everyone. And then some people have the opportunity, some people experience psychosis once and it's fucking awesome, like they like heal from it and they're like, you know, like they only have one episode and they're good. Some people have it for the rest of their lives. Some people don't. And so I am on the journey of healing fully, because I choose to believe that. And also I'm taking my time. I'm knowing and realizing that healing is a journey, and it's not, some things take longer than others. So trusting that experience as well. Yeah, so, yeah, I think another thing about this is like when I experienced psychosis was that I really discovered that I am very sensitive and I'm just very open. Like my head, my crown is just super open to a lot of information. And that's why it's really important to ground and learn about grounding techniques, because I'm just way more receptive to a lot of people's energies and things like this. And so if you're not grounding, working with these plant medicines and anything feminine in this way, then you can experience things like this. So yeah, and so what else I wanted to share about this? Yeah, I think this is all for now, I think. Yeah, and if you are experiencing any of this, you know, and you're struggling like to really like understand deeper on what this means for you and your life, you know, I think for me, it really, like, if it starts with what you're consuming, right? Like, what type of media are you consuming? And so just having like really good mental health, you know, and taking care of yourself in all the ways. I exercise every day. I do yoga, and so like, and doing all the things to help me around my healing journey on this. And so what are you consuming? What are you creating? Who are you surrounded by? Who are you being the person that you desire to be? Who are you deciding to be in this very present moment, without psychedelics, you know, or substances? It could be, you know, marijuana as well, right? Anything. And so these substances can be really beautiful, powerful experiences. And also it can also be a way of detaching from reality. And, you know, so it's like a beautiful way to discover God and spirit and the unseen. But yeah, it can also just be a way of like completely numbing out. And so, you know, even if your intention is good, sometimes you could just completely disconnect from this reality and just completely go south. So this isn't to try to scare you, but just to bring reality on my experience, which is real. And so you know, it's always helpful to get therapists that also understand this realm of, you know, around psychedelics. You know, I mean, there's a lot of therapists out there, but specifically people that understand that psychedelics as well as, you know, psychosis and spirituality, which is, it's great. So it's just helpful along the healing journey. So if you really want to, if this is something you're experiencing and you truly want to heal from it, then I highly recommend doing that. So, yeah. And I think the last thing I want to share is like there's this documentary on Gaia, which I found really interesting around healing. It's like about, I'm so sure you could find it on Gaia, Gaia. And it's about people that, like the Western world versus the rest of the world around mental health. So like the Western world would say you're schizophrenic, and then the rest of the world would say, oh, you just have a special spiritual gift, and obviously like you'd be like a shaman, for example, and so they would put you into a higher power of this and work with that with you. And so, but our Western world is not, you know, we live in a very different society, to where we're not able to be held in those spaces, which is why people are being put in psych wards. So it's kind of amazing to see that in the rest of the world they're being held in like villages and things like this. But yeah, and so it is possible to heal. But yeah, I think it just depends on everyone else. So I highly recommend this documentary on Gaia. And it just search like Gaia, you know, psychosis or something, it'll pop up. Yeah, and shoot me a message if you have any questions. Follow for more. That's it. Yeah. That's it for my first episode. So love y'all. Actually, I would love to hear from y'all what you thought of this episode, number one. Number two, I would love to hear from you all around what the title of this podcast should be. Spiritual artist is what it's called right now, but I'm like, got these something. Like, I would love to make it fun and playful. So let me know if you have any thoughts on that. Love y'all. Bye for now.